that went down that should have been handled differently. Just the lack of respect.
Savannah Chrisley has just revealed that Todd has been facing retaliation in prison. What he's dealing with behind bars is truly dark and twisted, and his children and their giant mouths are to blame. It seems like all we've heard about lately is just how badly Todd and Julie are doing behind bars. According to Chase and Savannah, the conditions are horrible. There's no AC, and the guards have put padlocks on the ice machines, even though they were both stuck in the southern heat. Because of the heat, there's black mold and asbestos, and they allegedly don't even have clean drinking water. And according to Chase, Julie's even dealing with snakes at her prison. It just sounds pretty inhumane, even if it is prison. But Savannah just revealed that because she and Chase have been speaking out against the prison conditions, Todd and Julie are getting retaliated against.
That's the hard part, is I've spoken out about it, and obviously there's been some retaliation here and there.
She didn't specify if it was the prison guards retaliating against them or their prison mates, but it sounds like it's most likely the guards, who aren't happy that Savannah and Chase are bringing up just how bad the conditions are to the public. Because think about it, it's pretty likely that no other prisoners at either of their prisons have the ability to speak out like Todd and Julie do. And if the conditions are that bad, Savannah and Chase speaking out is only going to get the prisons in trouble for how they're treating the inmates. And that's just not something that family members of the other inmates have the ability to do. Even if the conditions aren't that bad, the way that they're speaking out is definitely going to send some people into the prison to check up on things. So it makes sense if the prison guards are taking it out on Todd and Julie, because they were flying under the radar until all of this.
But Todd and Julie's sentencing finally happened, and there's so much to cover I don't even know where to start. First of all, I just want to start this out by saying that I really don't know if they're actually guilty or not. I wasn't in the courtroom with the jury that made the decision, and I am not a lawyer. I tried to figure out and understand everything that they were charged with, and it seems pretty cut and dry that they did it. But literally still to this day, Todd, Julie, and the entire family are telling the world that they're innocent and that this never happened. And you would think that they would have given it up by now. Because I wasn't in the courtroom, I don't want to say one way or another that I really know what happened. But I do know that it is absolutely insane. Everything is completely crashing down for the Chrisley family right now, and I don't even know where to start. Maybe the fact that all of their shows have allegedly been canceled already, according to Deadline, or maybe we should start with the last week. When Grayson, the Chrisley's 16-year-old son, was in a horrible car accident that actually left him hospitalized. He was allegedly texting and driving on the highway and rear-ended a car that was stuck in standstill traffic. Obviously, this would be scary and stressful no matter what else is going on in your life. But to add this to the stress that the family was going through with Todd and Julie's sentencing coming up, I can't even imagine how upset they all were. But then you have the weird part. Grayson's car accident happened over a week ago, but nothing about the car accident came out until the literal night before the sentencing. I'm not at all saying that this was a fake car accident or anything like that. I truly believe that it was 100% real, and I can't even imagine how scary it was. But the fact that the story didn't come out until over a week later, and that night before the biggest moment in the Chrisleys' lives, and the moment that was sure to get the most media attention, you do have to wonder if they just leaked the story to the press to get the heat off of their sentencing. But I'm not a PR person, so I don't know. And while we're speaking of Grayson, there have actually been some updates with him. Apparently, he's out of the hospital because according to the Ashley Reality Roundup, he and Chloe both testified for their parents at the sentencing. I can't even imagine how traumatizing this must have been for both of them. I mean, Chloe's only 10 years old, and she's in court testifying about how she doesn't want her grandparents turned legal guardians to go to prison. I just don't get why they thought that kids who are minors would be the best option to testify. I'm sure that they thought that having the kids who are still reliant on them testify would create sympathy with the judge. And it did, because the judge decided to seal the court documents because the two kids testified. But he definitely wasn't lenient with the sentencing, because Todd's going to prison for 12 years. Julie's going to prison for 7, and they're not serving them at different times like Teresa and Joe Giudice did so that they could raise their kids. It's already been confirmed that that won't be the case, which I'm sure has a lot of people wondering what's going to happen with Grayson and Chloe. Well, Savannah's already revealed on her podcast Unlocked that she'll have custody of the two kids. I just can't even imagine how much that is for her to take on. She's now responsible for a 16-year-old and a 10-year-old, and she's only 25 herself. And worse yet, in the same podcast, she revealed a lot of her own mental health struggles and how she's been struggling with her parents' legal issues. Say what you want about Todd and Julie, you can believe that they're guilty or innocent or whatever, but their kids are definitely innocent in all of this, and it's hard to see them suffer like they clearly are. I really hope that they are able to take care of their mental health, and I hope that Savannah is able to balance taking care of herself and the kids. She revealed so much in the podcast that is honestly kind of hard to believe. Just for the record, the episode was filmed a few days ago and released the day after the sentencing, so keep that in mind. But for one thing, she still believes that her parents are 100% innocent. Do with that what you will, but she talks about how the world needs more people like them, and that no matter how old you are, you need your parents, and it makes her sad that Grayson and Chloe probably won't have that because she always had it herself. She also made a very shocking announcement that as a teenager, she attempted to end her own life, and she even confirms that it was when she was already on reality TV, but she managed to hide it from the whole world this entire time. This was one of the most shocking revelations to me. She got into so much in this podcast, it's honestly hard to keep track of it all, but the biggest takeaway is that she believes her parents are innocent, and she and the rest of the family are extremely sad about it. She also confirmed that her parents will be filing an appeal as soon as they were sentenced. So if I had to guess, this is not the end of the story for Todd and Julie and their prison sentence. As for the other kids, Chase was seen leaving court and he did not look happy. He tried to floor it out of a parking garage because of a paparazzi that was screaming at them. And honestly, I really can't imagine how hard this is for them. Chase just got engaged. This means that his parents will most likely miss the wedding. Chase's fiance Emmy's dad is struggling with ALS. So if I had to guess, I would say that Chase and Emmy probably aren't going to want to wait 12 years for Todd to get out of prison before getting married. It's gotta be a really tough situation. And obviously, this is probably only scratching the surface of everything that's going through their minds right now. But as for the sentencing, here's what we know. Todd and Julie don't have to report to the prison until January 15th. This means that the family will get one last holiday season together. Some people think that it's odd that they get this much time before they have to turn themselves in. But for white-collar crimes, it's more common that they get this time to get their affairs in order, since they're not at risk to cause harm to anyone like other crimes may be. And as for where they'll be serving their prison sentence, Todd and Julie will be in 2 different federal prisons in Florida. Todd will be serving his sentence in Pensacola, and Julie will be serving hers in Tallahassee. Interestingly enough, the prison that Julie is going to is also the prison that Ghislaine Maxwell is currently serving her sentence in. Both prisons are minimum security, but the inmate handbook is online for the prison that Julie is going to. And it's definitely prison. And if you're wondering why they both got such long sentences, I've seen people bring up the fact that people have committed much worse crimes and served much less time, like Josh Duggar, who is currently serving 12 years for some pretty horrific crimes that I think we're all aware of, which is the same exact sentence as Todd. But there's actually a reason why their sentences are so much longer than you'd expect, and it's because they didn't take any accountability for it. Their accountant did, and he's only serving 3 years. But because they won't admit that they did anything wrong, aren't apologetic, and won't accept guilt, they're being forced to serve a much longer sentence. But that's really all we know about this right now. I'm sure we'll find out more as the next few days and weeks go on, like reactions from Todd, Julie, and the rest of the family. But what do you guys think of all of this? I really and truly cannot believe it. Chrisley Knows Best was always one of my favorite reality shows, even though it was obviously fake, and I always just thought they seemed like a pretty eccentric family who wanted to be famous. I never thought they'd end up here. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments.